to Sunrise Daily. Well, yes, indeed, keeping our focus on the agreements, how to diversify the economy was also part of the deal. Well, Natasha Akpoti joins us now. She's a social entrepreneur. Thank you for coming on this morning. Well, part of this, the mining, it's what was that also includes part of the deal. You've been advocating for some of these things, but from what you've seen, are you impressed with some of the details of this agreement?
There's a very good point you raised. Some of the details, the question is how much details of the transaction or the meeting in China is available to the general public. What we hear or what we see is just little snippets here and there. And that leaves the general public to negotiate or to ponder over what is and what is not on both sides. Like my dear friend Nicholas Okoye said, that he followed the news on the social media, but there isn't much, the government isn't coming up to say. So if you ask me now what Nigeria stands to gain, good or bad, I think I have quite limited information. I'll only have to discuss based on what we all understand now, or we all are available to.
Right, could you then tell us, what kind of things do you want to see?
I would like to see stronger agreements. You see, Nigerians on the face of it tend to be quite gullible and quite excited over such foreign investment deals. But what we need to do is step back and say, okay, here we have these foreign investors coming, particularly from China, which are quite dictatorial. So now, how best are we going to protect our local industries? How best are we going to promote what we have here so that we do not get usurped by that economy and thereby have an extension of what we call the slavery economy, which we practice now? So I would like to see that our expatriate quota is strengthened. Yes, that is one part of our industry that has been quite weak. So you have foreign investors come down, and the next thing they're here for so long because the expatriate quota holds it at 2 years first with an extension of 1 year. And there should be at least 2 Nigerians underserving the expatriate, so that in the span of 3 years, we could have at least, if not total, but partial transfer of technology. And then we have Nigerians in the engineering sector and all other sectors who are quite aggressive and knowledgeable. So I believe that if we have a little bit of that transfer of technology given to us, then we could now develop and make it more Nigerian. Thereby, in the nearest future, we do not have to fall victims of obsolescence bargain, which definitely will come. Obsolescence bargain means a legal situation whereby negotiations are being taken to the side of the foreign investor over time. Like right now, we could see that the Chinese gave us a mark which we should not deal with Taiwan, right? And that's what we have on the face of it now. But we don't know what can come up next year or the year after or in 5 years' time or 10 years. So in order to protect Nigeria, we need to strengthen our legal terms. We need to look deep into the contract and say, what do you have for Nigerians? How do you plan treating the workers that you're going to put? How do you ensure that the quality of products you're going to bring in are actually up standard, like Mr. Nicholas said? I mean, so it's only wise if we lean more towards the Europe standards and the Americans and say, how best can we adapt that? So I think that's the things I would love to see Nigeria sit up and implement stronger legal systems and contracts.
Now we're talking about such standards. Don't forget that there's also this notion and perception among the sector of some Nigerians when it comes to Chinese products. Do you think there's something that the Nigerian government can do about that in concert with the Chinese government, talking more on about standards?
Yes, there is a lot we can do. Like I said, starting with the Standard Organization of Nigeria and the National Orientation Agency as well, which needs to inform Nigerians on the ability to speak up and communicate feedbacks on certain products. And then also we need to ensure that the government listens and puts in place measures which will hold the importing company liable to such detriment, like fines and all others, and if possible even banning such products. But to what extent can we actually enforce that? But another area I would like to have our government focus on is trying to go away from being the exporter of primary products. If we look now, Nigeria definitely today is not lacking foreign investors. You go to the Niger Delta region and every other aspect, you see lots of foreign investors participating in economic growth. But the part we ask is how much of it has Nigeria benefited from? So now that we're giving a blank check to the Chinese, how much are we going to control? Are we not just going to lose ourselves? Now, the mining sector, we know that Nigeria is rich with lots of minerals. But over the past few years, a lot of years, as a matter of fact, Nigeria has only been mining and exporting these products. We have refused to invest in the production processes. For example, we are known to have a huge reserves of limestone. And so far now, our limestone is being used just for cement production. But little do we know that limestone can also produce glass, which presently we import a lot of our floating glass from China. So I would like to have a situation whereby, as much as we open our doors to foreign investors, the first thing they're going to do is they will have to participate a lot, take on board the Nigerian private players, people like you and I, because I've been promoting a lot for the Ajaokuta revival. And it's important that focus is being given to see what areas we could commercialize and monetize our various products as against just getting our raw iron ore, getting our raw limestone, our marble, and exporting them on the face of it. No, we should be able to have lots of industrial cities and parks which will have layered of industries that would utilize the products and byproducts of such minerals to generate end goods. But I would also like to say that as part of the private deals that were entered into by the Nigerian government, I think there's an industrial park in Ogun State which is going to be for $1 billion. That is supposed to be a high-tech industrial park with lots of factories listed there. I would like to know what exactly that deal entails. Are we going to have Chinese workers only with the technical capacity working there, or we're going to have accountants and all others taking up jobs that originally are meant for Nigerians, where we ordinarily should not be? And there's also a 363 million naira mechanized farming and also industrial park located for Kogi State. I would like to appreciate here that this government, in going to China, has not just set up its own procedures, but has taken upon that from the beneficial aspects from previous administration. That is to say that most of the agreements that were conducted in China now were actually started from the previous administration. And here we speak about continuity, and that's amazing. So now that we are on that, it's best for us to see how much can Nigeria derive from this. The private players
allow me come in here.
Have a worse situation of unemployment and underemployment.
I want us to go back to the Ajaokuta, which you say is some form of concern to you. Now that we have this kind of partnership, knowing full well that we have a whole lot of industrial revolution that this might spring up, don't you think that this partnership just might not see to the revival of Ajaokuta if we're not really careful about some finite details of this deal?
Definitely. There are very, very thin lines that we must be careful in crossing. We all know that the Chinese are huge players in the steel industry. As a matter of fact, they produce more than half of the world consumed steel. So now here we are opening our borders. Yes, they have promised a part of the package that they were going to construct rail tracks all over. But I'm also hearing, which I said, it's not confirmed, like almost everything is not really in black and white. I've heard that they are asking for to be given Ajaokuta and Itakpe in compensation, which is they do want to have control of Ajaokuta and Itakpe so they could utilize that the iron ore in producing steel for the rail tracks. But are we really sure that is going to happen? Then here we are, we all know, look at what's happening in South Africa, when presently they're complaining that just because they also signed the yuan swap deal last year, South Africa, yes, did this, and they had an inflow of over 400,000 Chinese into the economy, and they also came with their products. Those things that originally were made in South Africa, now the local industry is struggling to maintain their production. So that I see happening to Nigeria. So why we are, my concern with Ajaokuta is, if we do not take care, we might not, with the Chinese coming in, we might have it very difficult reviving Ajaokuta and having it operate to the best capacity, which originally it was supposed to. we have to be extremely careful with that.
Well, I have seen a couple of your write-ups on Ajaokuta, which, you know, looks like a very similar story to the Delta Steel Company story in Alaja. But we'll come to that, you know, to that shortly. Just short of waiting for foreign investment into the solid mineral sector, what else do you think we can do to really get it started? Because it's one area the government has been looking at for years now on, you know, diversifying our source of forex.